What's up, Wolfman fans? It's the Wolfman back with you. Today is Sunday, and I'm coming at you with a special kind of a bonus video for this weekend. And it's not like it usually is when I do this kind of thing. Usually it's because I make a video and then I get like excited about what I'm doing, and I'm just like, man, I just got to post another one just because, I mean, to be honest with you, I find it, as fun. I enjoy doing it. But this video is actually, I have something weighing on my mind. And this is kind of an old school style video. Old school, for me, old school standards by my standards. I've been seeing a lot of videos lately. You guys know that I hang out probably way too much on YouTube, watching a lot of stuff. I've been seeing a lot of videos pop up talking about a second American Civil War. And while possible, I don't believe it to be probable. However, there's been a lot of things in my life that I thought the same about, and I start to worry sometimes, and I still don't think it's exactly the most probable thing that could happen, but I do believe that there is certainly a possibility. Like right now, we're not under any more strain then, okay, right now the sun is really getting in my eyes. Okay, I think that's better. So anyway, I don't think this country is under any more strain than it was, back in the time of the 1960s and the civil rights movement and stuff like that. I don't think we're under any greater strain than we were back then. I think it's reaching that fever pitch level that it was back then. But here's my concern, that there are a lot of people out there who want it. On both sides of the aisle, there are a lot of people who want it and think it's a necessary action. And I don't know if they're really fully comprehending the the gravity of what they're advocating for. I don't think the people on the left, I don't think the left really cares. I think their notion of a civil war, I think their notion of a civil war is really, as long as, the end result is they get what they want, the ends justify the means. Or at least that's the way they see it. In my case, In my case, I don't believe necessarily that any ends justify those means, personally. Well, I'll take that back. I guess maybe, if we did find ourselves under the rule of, like, absolute tyrannical despotism, maybe then, but I see that from being far from where we're at. We're still in a pretty good place. I mean, yeah, we have our problems, of course. But, I mean, if you take a moment and look at what Europe deals with, what they're going through, UK and France and all them, see what they're dealing with. And it's far beyond what we've dealt with. I mean, yeah, we deal with the racism thing and the whole feminist and all that BS, but hell, in the UK, I mean, here we can still carry guns. They try as they might, they have not removed that from us. That's written into our Constitution. It's not in other countries. So, like the UK, you can't even carry a knife. Here that sounds absurd, but over there it's a reality. And you can go to prison for it. They've been putting people in jail for, saying mean things on Twitter. It's ridiculous. We're not to that point. And I think it's even going to take more than even that to create the kind of catalyst that honestly leads us to a civil war. I don't like the idea of it. There's too many people with their fingers already on a trigger, ready to go. That, again, that's both sides of the aisle. I have a lot of friends of mine who, if it came down to it, man, they're armed to the teeth and they're not afraid to get out there and do what they've got to do. And even if that means losing their own lives over it, in their eyes it's justified. You know, they're doing it for the country, which, okay, granted, I see where you're at. I see where your head's at on that one, but here's my problem. You know, we're not in combat anymore. We're not soldiers. That doesn't mean we give up our oaths, no. But our battle is a little bit different now. We need to do everything we can to maintain a state of general peace. And like it or not, what I'm about to say, we are in a state of relative peace. I grant you there are a lot of problems. In my daily life, and I talk a lot about the problems that we see, the problems that we face day in and day out around this nation. But, you know, again, and I've said this before, I don't see any of this on my daily life. I go to work, I go to school. I used to. I mean, I actually, by the way, I finished school. I'm done with school. I've taken my last class. I passed. Now I've just got to wait for my official graduation ceremony, which comes next month. But anyways, you know, I digress. In the process of going to work, going to school, and all the normal stuff that I do, I don't see any of these problems that, you know, even I talk about. Yes, these are problems in the United States, but generally I would like to think that the only reason it's as visible, these issues are as visible as they are, is because media makes it visible. And yeah, we get all kinds of crazy and all kinds of upset when that's what the media wants to focus on. I hate it when you take a drink and it goes down the wrong pipe. Oh, excuse me. Anyways, we get mad because that's the kind of stuff they focus on, and it creates such an outrage. But in all, it's kind of isolated incidents, each one. Yeah, it all pertains back to the same old arguments, you know, of racism or feminism or whatever the case may be. It always goes back to that, but it's not. I don't believe it to actually be half as widespread as people like to think it is. Yeah, it happens. It does happen. But I genuinely think that our problem is a media issue. And I'm just as guilty. Media gives these events a lot of light. Unfortunately, there's a lot of idiots in the media that like to play political sides. They like to play favorites. The Jussie Smollett thing was a good example of this. How there's people that continue to support him. Excuse me. Even after it's come out that that whole thing was a hoax, it never actually happened. There's still people that are supporting him, saying, "Well, it's not his fault that he perpetrated this hoax. It's someone else's fault." All right, now that's ridiculous. Okay, come on. Man's got to take responsibility for his own actions. When he made he came up with a stupid idea and tried to fool everybody and send innocent people to prison for his own personal gain. To me, that doesn't make him any kind of a hero. That doesn't make him a victim of any kind. It makes him a criminal. That's all it does. And he should be judged and punished accordingly. And that goes for anybody who does stuff like that. And it's really all that needs to be said. And honestly, again, I think it's a media problem. If the media would stop trying to, you know, bolster their street cred, political cred, whatever the case may be, trying to put themselves on one side of the aisle or the other and just report the flipping news as the facts are presented. Now, if you're calling out people like Jesse Smollett or AOC or whoever, if you're calling these people out based on the facts, and you're telling people this is the facts, this is what's happened, then okay, fine, you're on the right side. You're on the right side of that, and it's not a right or left angle. It's just an angle of common sense and an angle of justice, as far as I'm concerned. So, and that's the kind of reporting you need. We need more common sense. Honestly, as far as stopping a potential civil war, the best way we can do that is information. Right now, and this has been ongoing for a while, we're in basically what is the information war. And I don't mean to sound like I'm propping up InfoWars or anything like that, because that's what they named their channel after. That's what they named their whole thing after, is the information war. But it's nonetheless true. We are in an information war. It's about fighting against lies and misdirection, misinformation, with truth. Not with guns, not with fists, not with weapons of any kind, not with actual violence. No, we're fighting back against that misinformation stuff. We're fighting against it with truth, with honesty, with common sense perspective. And honestly, again, those of us who are really, really pushing for it, we're not against anybody having their own personal opinions. Everybody's gonna have their own personal opinions. What it's about is cooperation, really. You may agree to disagree. You can agree to disagree all day long, but as long as we both sides of the aisle work together, though they disagree, to perform the same end goal of the betterment of the people and the betterment of the nation for the greater good. That is the point of everything. It's about to get kind of loud, I think. I live just north of JRB, Fort Worth, on Carswell JRB. I live just north of there, so I get a lot of training flights of jets flying over. I mean, I've had F-18s like circle over my house and stuff. It's kind of cool, but at the same time, it can be kind of loud and obnoxious. So if you guys hear that thunderous roar like that, that's what it is. Okay, I think he went away. Anyways, yeah, look, a civil war, possible, not probable. Definitely something we want to avoid, and the best way to avoid it is by keeping each other informed, is by trying to work together, is trying to, even though we have our disagreements, to have differing opinions, to do our best to put forth our best effort for the greater good. And I don't mean by banning guns, because that's the greater good of stopping school shootings. Look, we have to understand criminals are criminals, and criminals don't obey the law. So you can pass legislation all day long to take guns away, and criminals don't really care. They're going to do what they can do, whatever it's within their power to do, to gain the upper hand in any situation. So really what you just need to do is make tougher, do your best to defend against it, and make tougher prosecution for those who actually commit these acts. Not draw, and what I mean by that is not draw out a court case for 6-7 months. I understand everybody's entitled to a legal defense, but if you went up in a school and started shooting, I'm sorry, this gets me frustrated, so give me a second. If you went up into a school and started shooting and killing people, killing kids, I don't really think it takes much. I don't think it takes a jury of 12 to really decide whether or not, you're guilty or innocent. You're definitely guilty. You went up in there and started doing it. There's no questions asked about that. Now, can there be an investigation as to why, what the background motivation? Was he like on his own? Was there some kind of like, I don't know, like a cult behind it? There may have been. Who knows? Was there a conspiracy there? There may have been. But I don't think it takes a court case for that guy to sit there free, getting 3 meals a day, a place to sleep and everything on the government's dime, on the people's taxpayers' dime, because we're trying to decide if he's guilty or not. No. Personally, there needs to be harsher sentences for that. But that's really all you can do. You can't punish the innocent for something bad people do. You see what I'm saying? I don't understand it, man. To all you guys out there on the right, all my brothers and sisters out there on the right, and you sit there and say, yeah, bring a civil war. And I've been guilty of this too, guys. I'm not going to say that I haven't ever said anything like that. I have. I'm guilty of that. But let's think rationally here. That should be the furthest thing from your mind. That should be something that the last ditch anything that you should ever want. You should never want it to happen. You should do everything in your power, in your capacity, to avoid such a horrible thing. Look at the first Civil War. I mean, look at the casualties. I'm not going to sit here and try to quote to you the numbers because I can't remember them off the top of my head, but they're pretty damn high. A lot of people dead. Those that did make it out alive, a lot of them were never the same. Lost limbs. I mean, you think about soldiers coming back from Iraq that have been blown up in IEDs and stuff. Think of that on a massive scale. Those that didn't come home. Think of that on a giant, massive scale, and the only ones that are getting hurt are Americans. It's not like this one American, yeah, he lost his leg and he's scarred up on his face and, for the rest of his life, but he took down 3 or 4 dudes before that happened to him. Well, in this case, those 3 or 4 dudes will be Americans. It'll be bloody. It'll be horrible and unforgivable sin as far as I'm concerned. And in this case, there won't even be a clear drawn line. At least back then, there was north and south. We knew where the borders of the Confederacy was with the federal United States. We knew where that border was. Combatants wore uniforms. This is going to be like fighting over in Iraq. There's safe places in Iraq, but you don't know where they are, and you don't know what can happen at any given time. So as soon as you touch down, boots on ground, you have to assume that you could potentially be killed at any moment. That's going to be how it is. Around every corner, there will be no clear-cut lines. It'll just be chaos, and there will be hell to pay. So our ultimate goal should be to avoid it at all costs. Talk to people. Don't fight. And if people want to fight, get the police involved. I know the police don't want to be any more hated than they already are, but it is their job to serve and protect. So if things start getting violent, take a step back. Let the police do their job. Our goal should not be a civil war. Our goal should be overreaching peace. And if the and eventually, hopefully, we can discover amongst everybody what the real, who the real bad guy is, who the real enemy is, that's doing their best to try to divide us and push us towards that and destroy this nation from within. We'll find out who those people are. Some of us already know who they are. It's up to the rest of everybody else to either inform people or to find out for themselves. That's all I got, guys. It's just something that was weighing on my mind. Kind of rambled for a little bit, but I apologize. Hope you enjoyed this video. As always, you guys tune in next time for another great video and another cool discussion topic. If you have anything you want, particularly you would like me to talk about, please feel free. Hit me up in the comments. Let me know what you think. We'll discuss whatever you want to talk about. If you want me to make a video on it, I'd be glad to, and I'll drop your name. I'll give you a shout out and let you know this was your idea. Let people know it was your idea. Other than that, man, if you guys want to help the channel grow, you can always hit up my PayPal. I'll leave the link in the description as always. And yeah, that's about it, man. That's all for this weekend. I'll see you guys. I hope you have a great rest of the week, and we'll see you guys next Saturday with a brand new video. As always, stay awesome and take it easy.